Hi foodie friends, it's Tiffany Foreman, your favorite Pampered Chef consultant, always bringing you recipes, tips, fun, and more. And today I am making breakfast squares by the request of one of the teenagers. So one of them is actually here with me in the kitchen and is going to help me out today. So let's take a look at our setup. Oh, the sun is bright there. All right, so we're going to start off with our vegetables. So Drew, show them your knife skills and tell them about the knife as you use it.
What, a Santugo knife?
Yeah, what do you like about it?
I just like it's easier to use.
And do you know what Santugo means in Japanese?
No.
3 good things: slicing, dicing, and mincing. So Drew is cutting up some bell pepper because that's what we like in our breakfast squares. And these little divots right here create air pockets when you slice so that things don't get stuck. All right, and notice how Drew is not putting his index finger. Show them how you would put your... This is the incorrect way to hold a knife. So yes, knuckle up on it. There you go. And actually you can choke up a little bit more on the knife, but I know that's more comfortable like that for you. So he's gonna do the knives, do our bell pepper, and then what I'm gonna do is get our eggs ready because this is the base of our breakfast squares is our eggs. Now I have a awesome consultant on my team who brought me fresh eggs yesterday. So we have 3 dozen eggs, and so I thought, why not use 1.5 dozen to do our breakfast squares. So I grabbed my boyfriend, Manuel, the manual food processor, and I'm going to use this for our eggs. Now, I could have definitely put the bell pepper in there, but Drew wants to practice his knife skills, so I'm not going to deny him that. But I'm going to take our food processor, and actually I grabbed myself a trash bag, so that as I crack my eggs, I can put the shell right in there. And I have noticed that with these farm fresh eggs, or not farm, I guess they're not from Farm Fresh, which is an old grocery store around here, but from my friend's eggs, the shell is harder to crack. And I'm gonna hold that open. I'm gonna hold it with my one hand and crack with my other. But I love how the manual food processor can hold a bunch of eggs. So if you're doing any kind of a breakfast casserole, like at Easter time, we did a, what was it? The French toast casserole. So we had to scramble a bunch of eggs for that. And our breakfast squares call for a bunch of eggs. And I think I'm gonna wait and do the last 5 in a second because I'm getting pretty full. Like I'm almost covering our little post there. So I am going to now put our lid on. For if you're not familiar with the manual food processor, it's not a screw-on lid, it's just a place-on lid. So we're gonna place it just on there like that. I do leave this warning label on there. I know some people are funny about stickers, but I don't want my family to plunge this in the sink. So I actually just hold my hand right there and process. All right, if your arm gets tired, rotate, process that way. And voila, there is that's 1 dozen eggs right there. So we're gonna go ahead and look, and he's doing our pepper. So another thing we're gonna add to this is we have a little bit of fresh jalapenos that Drew diced left over from taco night. And then we also are gonna supplement with some jarred jalapenos. And then we're gonna do some grated cheese, but we're also gonna do some sausage. You could substitute the protein for any kind of protein that you want, but I'm going to take you guys over to my cooking station. Let's see if we can get this going over here. Sorry, Drew. And let you guys see, without tipping over my iPad, how, there we go, there's our cooking. All right, so this burner was just on. We actually just had scrambled eggs as a brunch because Drew gets home from Votech right at like 10:30. So I went ahead and made everybody some scrambled eggs and toast for a late breakfast, early lunch. I washed the pan out and we're getting our sausage ready. So I just buy the package of sausage that is like in this patty format versus the links. But I sometimes buy the links if they're on sale. It just depends on what's on sale. If they're like $3 a package, I will buy a bunch. This is just the store brand. And we'll freeze it. So what I like about our cookware as well is right now it's distributing the heat, so I'm not going to touch it, but it's distributing the heat all the way around for even heat distribution. But if I had this was frozen, I would have taken this package, styrofoam up, so plastic side down, and just set it in here off to the side. Okay, not on the burner. And what it does is it does the same thing with the cool, and it distributes the cool, so it defrosts your food faster without even putting it on heat. So that's a lot of times what I do, because this package fits perfectly right inside there. But you've got to have a mix and chop so that you can mix this up. I am letting it sit a minute because we want this to brown a little bit versus cook based on steam. That's a lot of times what people do when it comes to ground beef, is that they break up their ground beef faster than they should, and they end up steaming the ground beef versus cooking the brown beef to get those brown bits. So I'm gonna let that sit there and cook right there. I have some other stuff going on over here, you may have noticed. This is actually one of the old pieces of cookware that I am boiling my Norwax rags, because that is what my consultant told me to do. If they start to smell, it's just to boil them. So they're boiling there. And I do have one piece of non-Pampered Chef cookware back there. It's the only pot in the house that is not Pampered Chef. And the only thing that is made in that is sweet tea. So my husband, when he is here, goes through almost a gallon of sweet tea a day. So the sweet tea is boiled, tea bags are added, and it sits there until somebody gets around to making it. So this is starting to sizzle, so we're going to break this up. Now sausage is more sticky than, say, ground beef. And I do this, but look, it's starting to cook. All right, so you might notice that it kind of sticks right there. That is normal. All right, and I just kind of bang it on there. It's stickier the more raw it is. And then as it cooks, it comes off a little easier. So I'm just breaking this up. This is actually the 8-inch saute pan, which is perfect for something like this. It was perfect for a couple scrambled eggs this morning. Drew, of course, smelled my scrambled eggs and then came to check on them, and I ended up having to give mine to him, and then I made a new batch. But, you know, so is the life of being a mom. All right, so we're gonna let that cook just a minute. I do wanna bring your attention to the handle here. This little gray button is so that this handle can detach. So I will show you, this is our 12-inch family skillet, and there is what it looks like without the handle. And it goes on like that. Oh, the bell pepper. It's kind of like a muscle memory thing to how you push and pull at the same time to get that off. That way this is much easier to clean in your sink because it fits, or put it in your dishwasher and not have to worry about this for cleaning purposes or storage purposes. All right, so this is cooking up nice. Let's go check on Drew. How are we doing over here, buddy?
Good.
Good, all right. So you got bell pepper ready. You chopped up some onions. Don't do too many, hold on. I was gonna show them that over here so they can see it on camera. So what I was gonna do was show you guys that we're just gonna take some jalapenos, and I was gonna actually just place you can get it right there. So if you got some juices right there, put your jalapenos in it. This is the pink thing you see is the can strainer. It now only comes in white. But the pink one is to remind you that our Help with Cancer campaign is coming up. We used to have pink products, and now we have another campaign coming out with a different product. But that's just to show you how you can drain something really easily. So do you want to chop these with your knife? All right, he's going to do that with a knife. I had gotten out my food chopper to use for that, but he's going to use some knife skills there. So we'll move that out of the way. Talk to him, Drew, while you're slicing. Tell him what else you like to slice with that.
I use it to make my salads every day.
What do you put on your salad?
I put chicken that I cook in the air fryer. I put carrots, red peppers, a little bit of white onion, a little bit of red onion. Sometimes jalapeno, sometimes salami, sometimes turkey, and then I'll put salad dressing and cheese, and then croutons if we have it.
All right, the sausage is almost finished. Right there is our sausage cooked and ready to go. I'll put that batter bowl right there for a second. I know that pepper is a little spicy in that sausage, isn't it? I think it's, yeah, it's
the
the,
pepper and the salsa.
yeah, the spicy sausage is getting to our, you can see it there on camera now. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these last 6 eggs out, or 5, I guess. Set them over here because we want to recycle this container with our little friend who gives us eggs, and I don't want to get any eggs on them. So I'm going to set this over to the side. All right, so here is our batter bowl. And what we're going to do is we're going to start mixing in all of our stuff. So I usually put my finger on the post right there and then dump it in like that. Now don't make it too spicy because you've got jalapeno and you've got spicy sausage. There are other people who like to eat it. All right, I'm going to crack my last couple eggs. If you want to clean off your cutting mat, you can go ahead and put your vegetables in there. All right, so this original recipe came on the back of a Bisquick box, and I stopped by in Bisquick a while back. So I Googled like what to do in place of Bisquick, and I found out that Bisquick is really just flour, baking powder, and salt. Which, you know, most bakers, if you bake anything, you have that kind of stuff on hand. Right, there's our eggs. We'll get these out of our way. All right, I'm not going to add the sausage yet because the sausage will start to cook the egg, so I don't want it to do that yet. All right, do you want to add that in there? Oh, that's great. I love how the flexible cutting mats, you can just pour it right in there. Very good. And Drew, how do we clean our flexible cutting mats?
Rinse it and put it in the dishwasher.
And we put it in the dishwasher. And when we put it in the dishwasher, how do we place it in the dishwasher?
On its side.
In between plates so that they don't stick against each other. All right, so here is my flour measured out. It's about 3/4 of a cup. Use my prep bowl for that. You could definitely do this without the flour. It's just that it makes it more like spongy if you don't. All right, I'm going to use my baking powder here. It was 1.5 teaspoons per cup of flour. And then salt, which is right here. I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to put some in there. We also like black pepper, so I'm going to add some black pepper. And then the family will never know, Drew will because he's standing here, that I'm going to add our pea protein that is in there. Sorry. Oh,
Oops.
peppered, not perfect. It's all right. Drew's got big feet. All right, so we're going to do, let's say, what, 3 scoops of that? 2, 3 pea protein. Oh, well, I'll put that in the wash now. I usually keep that right there in my jar. This is actually our salad in a jar, mason jar, and so that's what I've been keeping that in. I could keep the scoop up here, but I have forgot to do that. All right, then the other thing I'm going to add is super veggie. So this is a combination of vegetables that are in a powder form. So my family's going to get more of their nutrition by adding that. All right, so when you look on the back here, 1 scoop is going to tell you what it has. So it has mushroom powder, pumpkin powder, parsnip powder, broccoli powder, and cauliflower powder. Say that real fast. So that is the 5 vegetables that are in here, and then it tells you if you're making what you're making, how many scoops to put in there. So, like, because this is actually a really big batter, almost like an entire dish, I could do, that's why I did multiple scoops. And for a veggie, depending on what kind of a boost you want, you could do that. I know the light is really hard for you guys to see with my camera on this side. I think it's the overhead light. But I do have, there we go. We have a picture of this that I can share with you guys. So that's the super veggie. All right, so we've got our regular veggies, our veggie additives, our flour, and then we got to add in meat. And I'm gonna be very careful when I mix this because I don't want it to splatter everywhere. Kind of like when you're doing cookies and it says to do your liquid stuff first, and then add in your solids, and then gently incorporate them. What are you looking for?
And that for the cheese.
Oh yeah, get a cutting mat out for the cheese. You can get a different one. You rinsed it off. Okay. So he's gonna grate the cheese. We like cheese in our family, so cheese is one of the C's, chicken, chocolate, cheese, and calories that we never measure. So we're probably gonna end up doing what that whole block through. And the only thing that we had on hand today is pepper jack. So we're just gonna use some good old pepper jack and mix all this up. I should probably get my whisk. That's what I need, is I need my whisk. Alright, so I'm gonna actually scrape this off a little bit. We are pampered, not perfect in here, so I'm gonna set that in there for the time being. And then get this kind of whisking that. So we get all of our flour and stuff incorporated and we don't have any little dry pockets. So Drew, what pan did we decide that we're gonna make these in? The brownie pan. And how many brownie pans does your mom have?
Too many.
I have 2 brownie pans because they fit side by side in the oven and I can make all of this at one time. Alright, so there's our mixture. Let's go ahead and add in our ground beef. I'm sorry, this is our sausage that's been sitting here cooling. Alright. Got that in there. And then Drew's grating the cheese. Depending on when you're watching this video, if you're watching it into the future, the cheese grater might have come back, but as of right now, the cheese grater is not available in stock. I'm very sad because I could definitely use another one. Our cheese grater is manufactured by Microplane, the company itself, and they are having a hard time getting materials due to COVID. So we don't, Pampered Chef doesn't have any in stock to sell. All right, so here's my brownie pan. I actually have 2. Who you watch? Who you looking for? We have 2 viewers, but we'll have more viewers later. They've been popping in and out. Is I'm going to use my large scoop. So there are 3 scoops in the collection: small, medium, large. The way you know which scoop you have is pour water in here and then measure out how much water. The small, this is the large. The large is 3 tablespoons. Then the medium is 2. Then the small is 1. So that's how you know how many tablespoons your scoop is. This scoop works. Oh, we need our cheese. We gotta add our cheese in. I'm gonna set that over there for a second. Making cheese chunks.
Yeah, I got the tongue to shred.
There we go. We're gonna add that in. So depending on what kind of cheese your family likes, you could use cheddar, you could use Colby Jack. We're using pepper jack. And we love block cheese because it tastes better, it melts better than that shredded stuff that you buy in the bag. And then it also does not have that added preservative called cellulose, that is wood pulp or sawdust that they put on your cheese so that it doesn't stick together in the bag. Also, block cheese is done by, show you guys this, it's done by weight. So this is an 8-ounce net weight. The block weighs 8 ounces versus volume, which cheese that is pre-graded in the store also is 8 ounces usually it's either 8 or 16. But it's the volume, it's the cup. So when you shred it yourself, you actually get more cheese because it's by volume versus by capacity. All right, we're gonna add that in. All right, gonna add the rest. Got a little bit of chunkies left. Oh, that's nice and cheesy. Eggy, vegetables, meat. And I'm going to start scooping because the cheese is going to probably settle to the bottom anyway. So, 1 large scoop per well. Some of them are a little bit more full than the other, so that's what I'll go through and add. Go ahead, yep. So depending on your household and how fast your family consumes this, if it was, say, a household where you adhere to portion control, you would say maybe eat 2 of these at breakfast time. If you have teenagers like mine, 2 is not going to be sufficient. I think Drew could eat 4 or 6 at a time, Drew?
For breakfast, yeah.
For breakfast, yes. So then I'll find him coming in here and snacking on them for just a mid-afternoon snack. So, like I said, it's going to depend on your family, on how long these last. A little liquid in that one, a little more chunks in that one. Need a few more chunks. Okay. All right, so there's one. I'll put this one over there real quick. And then we'll grab this one. But you could freeze these and pull them out as you needed them. What we'll probably do is once they cool, we'll put them in a leak-proof container, one of the Pampered Chef glass containers, and we'll store them in the fridge. Then the kids will take them out, however many at a time, and put them in the microwave to heat them up. A quick trick is to moisten your paper towel with a little water, wring it out so it's not dripping, and then wrap them in the paper towel while you put them in the microwave for 30 seconds. That way they won't like get all dried out while you're doing this. And so look at that, we measured this almost perfect. So what we'll do is we'll spread out, that's a big chunk of cheese in that one, Zero. Is we'll take this little bit, slide that other pan over close here so that I can see which ones need a little bit more. That one right there. That one. A little bit over there.
Those three.
Those three right there. Oh yeah, that one right there for sure. And then I don't want to miss any, so I'm going to use my scraper.
You probably could have done a little bit more egg.
I could have. But that was 18 eggs.
I was gonna say, you want to crack like 2 or 3 more and just dump them on?
We could. You want to grab 2 or 3 more eggs? See, sidekicks are good in the kitchen.
You're my sidekick.
Oh, did y'all hear that? I am his sidekick. He is the biggest critic of my cooking. Those of you who have been my customers for a long time know that this is coming up on my 18th anniversary with Pampered Chef. He is my worst critic, thinks that I am not a good cook at all.
I'm just honest.
He's honest. Don't you like that? Alright, he's going to crack some eggs in there. And then we're just going to top off a little bit with a couple more eggs just to, because we had so many toppings in there. So, how many you got there? 30. You think that's good? So that would be a total of 21 eggs for this much. So depending on how much you, eggy or whatever you want, you can do the same. So there is our pan. We'll put it in the oven at 350. And then I think it's about, I always check everything at 12 minutes. So I'm going to check it at 12, but I want to say it's more like 20. I will edit this video and put the link to the recipe in the video so you guys can see. And then, oh yeah, he's just going to add it just like that. Perfect.
I went a little over.
A little over. So now we'll need to scoop a little out. We'll grab our small scoop for that. So we might have to do a little cleanup here, but it's alright. We're pampered, not perfect. I'm just thankful that Drew is in the kitchen helping. And you guys who have small children, you'll eventually get there. My husband has always lived by the rule, if you want good food, learn to cook it yourself. So he's actually a much better cook than I am. That was something his grandfather taught him, because his grandfather was a very good cook. And there we go. Does that look? I'll put some more in some of the ones that are. So these puff up a little bit, but not a whole lot, because there's not that much flour and stuff in them. So maybe a little bit more on that one. And we'll just kind of mix that egg in. So you at your house can decide. We went really heavy on the toppings, and then how much egg you need. But that's why they're going to look a little. The color is a little different for you guys on camera, because we're adding some egg just to the top to kind of even them out. So there's one last shot right there. They're going to go in the oven, and everyone is going to be either they're going to be happy for snacks for later, or they're going to let's see how many last and make it to tomorrow morning. So I'll have to come back and tell you guys how many last, but we've got 24 of them here, so we'll see. So thank you so much, foodies, for joining me. Make sure you stay tuned. I'm always bringing you recipes, tips, fun, and more. And as always, I thank you for being a customer for so long and supporting my small business. Have a great day.